This is the last section for this chapter, which means we've got the test on Friday. So let's look at solving a system of linear inequalities. The first example has x plus y greater than 2 and x minus y is less than 2. Now, on the last chapter, I showed you a method of graphing that did not use the calculator. You're going to graph both of these inequalities on the same set of axes. And the first x plus y is greater than 2 is in standard form, so that you don't waste time. Use your x and y intercepts. If x is 0, then y is 2. Thank you. If y is 0, then x is 2. So you're given 2 points. Graph those 2 points. 0, 2. And again, if you graph it, then you need to label it. And do I draw a solid or a dotted line? Dotted line. So I'm going to connect my 2 points with my dotted line. And then I'm going to use a checkpoint. Put arrows on the end. My checkpoint I like to use is 0, 0. In place of the x, I'm going to put a 0. In place of the y, I'm going to put a 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. Is 0 greater than 2 a true statement? No, it's false. Since it is false, I'm going to shade the opposite side of the 0, 0. And now I'm going to do the same thing. Well, you can't see my shading at all. Okay. This is what I'll do. Hatch marks. Standard form. If x is 0, then 2 divided by the negative 1 is a negative 2. If y is 0, then x is 2. So I have 2 points. 2, 0, and 0, negative 2. Do I connect them with a solid or a dotted line? A dotted line. There's no line underneath less than. It's just less than, not or equal to. So they're both dotted lines. And when we did your test the last time, I graded on all of that. My point 0, 0 is still over here, and I'm going to replace. Is 0 less than 2 a true statement? Yes, it is true. This time, I'm going to shade on the side of my point because it makes it true. The point where I've got these cross hatches, that is what I'm looking for. That's the intersection of the two. Any problems or questions on that one? Solve a system by graphing. Second example. X is less than or equal to 2. Y is greater than or equal to a negative 1. How do I draw the line x equals 2? It is a vertical line straight up and down at 2. Is it a solid or a dotted line? Solid, because it's less than or equal to. There's a line underneath it. Put my arrows. X is less than 2 is over here to the left-hand side. So I'm going to put my horizontal. Y is equal to a negative 1 is where? How do I graph the line y equals negative 1? It's a horizontal at negative 1. Do I do a solid or a dotted? Solid, because it's greater than or equal to. So I'm going to do a solid line y equals -1. It's not a -2. Sorry. This is the y-axis. Sorry. This is the y-axis, and this is my line x equals 2. Let me do some labeling. I need all of the values where y is greater than a -1, which are above the line. So where the crosshatch is would be the intersection. Are you okay with those? Okay. What if you have more than 2 lines? You're going to find all of them. Okay, so our example 3 has x is greater than or equal to 0, y is greater than or equal to 0, 2x plus 3y is less than or equal to 12, 3x plus y is less than or equal to 6. So we're going to have all 4. I'm going to come over here and draw my axis. X, y. X greater than or equal to 0 is what?
It's just the x-axis.
Y-axis. It's just the y-axis. Greater than is going to be then over here to the right. So what about y is greater than 0?
That would be the x-axis.
Yeah, that's going to be the x-axis. So what quadrant am I in? If I'm this direction and this direction, what quadrant am I in? The first one. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead with my blue color, and I'm just going to color in all of those. Is everybody okay with that? Now, if you have issues with that, you can use 4 different colors, and you can actually graph those lines. But right now, we're just in the first quadrant. Since this is in standard form, I'm going to take the number in front of the x and divide it into 12. So 12 divided by 2 is what number? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if I divide 12 by 3, what number am I? 1, 2, 3, 4. Do I connect those 2 dots with a dotted or a solid line? Less than or equal to is a solid line. Now, I know that I'm only going to be in the first quadrant, so I'm not going to extend my arrows. I'm just going to connect the 2 dots with a line segment. And now I need to determine, am I going to go above that line or below that line? So I'm going to put my checkpoint back in here. 2 times 0 plus 3 times 0, is it less than or equal to 12? Well, is 0 less than or equal to 12? Yes. So I'm going to look at just this triangle now. So I'm narrowing down what I'm looking at. 6 divided by 3 is 2 on the x-axis. And 6 divided by 1 is 6 on the y-axis. Do I connect those 2 points with a solid or a dotted line? Solid, because it's or equal to. And I'm going to connect those 2. And I'm going to put my checkpoint in there. 3 times 0 plus 0 less than or equal to 6. Is 0 less than or equal to 6? Yes, it is. So now I know that all of those intersecting gives me this little quadrilateral here. And that's all of my solutions. Do you need to see another example? Okay, the reason why we're doing this is we are going to be finding the maximum values and the minimum values of functions. So I'm going to go ahead and give you this one. X is greater than or equal to 0. Y is greater than or equal to 0. 2x plus 3y is less than or equal to 18. 2x plus y is less than or equal to 10.